Hello and welcome back to RedditRead, a channel where we read Reddit stories and talk about them a little bit. No AI voices, I read all the stories myself. And it's fair season around here in the US, so today's theme is all about fair and carnival disasters. I don't know the last time you were at a fair, but we were at one yesterday, so we know all about fairs. I've gone to the fair like every year for like the past at least 4 or 5 years. So we're going to judge other people's fair experiences today because
that's what we do best.
Yeah, and it's fair season. And before we get started, remember to subscribe, hit that like button down below, and check us out on Spotify via the link in the description if you'd rather watch it there. But without any further ado, let's get into our first story, which comes from Am I the Asshole? And the title reads, Am I the asshole for defeating a gang of small children at a carnival game?
What? A small gang is such a crazy thing to call kids. I call them like a gaggle, you know?
No, a gang of small children, not a small gang. So it could be a 50.
Oh my God.
50 child large gang. We don't know.
I call them, that's a gaggle though.
That's a gaggle of kids.
You know?
Story reads, a few years ago, I went to the local yearly carnival, and because I grew up pretty poor, I had never really gone into the sideshow alley to play carnival games. I know that these were pretty much a money trap for suckers, so I went around and looked for something exploitable. I came across this game where you had to roll billiard balls up a board and into a set of holes in the shape of a triangle. The higher you get it, the more points you get. This fed into a sort of horse race thing, and the idea was to get your horse to the finish line by scoring points, racing against the other schleps. This seemed fairly simple, and also I was racing off 5 or 6 small children aged under 10. I was in my mid-20s at the time, and in my head I was like, I'm going to trounce these little kids. So I paid my money and prepared to go to war. Such would be the case, and I won by a country mile. The carny came over and asked what prize I wanted. I hadn't really considered actually winning anything, but having committed the act, I thought I'd better claim my prize. I pointed to a small, roughly 10-inch tall stuffed husky. The carny then got out a big hook and pulled down the biggest effing stuffed husky known to mankind, probably about 3 foot tall. And I was like, what the F am I gonna do with this for the next 6 hours as I walk around the carnival? I managed to cram it into my rucksack with its head poking out and had to endure hours of people pointing and laughing at me/it. I survived, however, I caught the train back to where I parked my bicycle at an old family friend's house. I then realized I couldn't both wear my bicycle helmet and have this stupid dog's head sticking out of my bag. In the end, I decided it was sheer bad luck and asked the old lady if she would like a stuffed dog. As it turns out, her dog had just passed away, and she regaled me with a half-hour description of their time together, but she took the cursed dog off my hands with thanks. I guess the more I think about it, karma did come around to bite me in the butt several times, but I still think about it sometimes. Am I the asshole here? For what?
For beating kids at a carnival game? It's not like he
what?
Rubbed it in the kid's face that he won.
Yeah, I'm confused. What's he?
I think he's guilty because he absolutely whooped some kid's ass in a carnival game.
So what? Fuck them kids, bro. They're just not good enough at the game. It's a skill issue.
That or like a size issue.
No, it's a skill issue.
He's a 20-year-old man and they're below 10.
It's a skill issue.
I guess my thing is like, Julian's like, fuck kids, I hate them.
Yeah, because what?
Yeah, that's what you sound like. This dude sitting here, he's like, I won this dog. I had to carry it around with me. I gave it to some old lady, and she had just lost her dog, and she told me all the stories about their time together.
So he just feels bad because this lady's dog passed away and tried.
No, I think what he's trying to say is he feels bad because, as the title says, he whooped this gaggle of kids' ass in a carnival game. First of all, I don't think that's a gang. It was probably like individual kids, you know?
He said it was 5 or 6 small children.
So why is he calling them a gang? I was picturing little kids with like bandanas on. And
I guess any group of children is
like
a gang.
little tattoos.
Like anytime you see like a classroom full of kids, that's a gang, clearly.
You know what I consider a gang? Like a group of 5 young adolescents. Those scare me. When you see a group, when we were at the fair, when we saw those groups of like teenagers who are clearly still in high school, they scare me. Because they're the most judgmental crazy, living life. Life hasn't hit them, kids, and they do not care. And they're terrifying.
That is true.
And they will call you out and they will be mean to you if they so feel like it. And that scares me.
That is
so
very
a
true.
group of like 5 kids that are younger than 10, I could probably punt them. So it's like,
Yeah, small kids are not scary.
okay, here's a real question. Do you think you could fight like 100 kindergartners?
Wait, I swear this question's been asked before on like
I feel like I've seen it too, but I remember being so intrigued by that question because I was like, that's such a good question to ask.
I feel like that's the thing. They asked like 100 men or something. Like, do you think you could?
They asked
Or I swear this was asked in like some kind of men's group online. And they like started strategizing like so seriously about how they could do this.
I think I might have seen it on Reddit.
It
I
probably
can't
was
remember.
Reddit. It was probably posted in r/men.
Probably, but I just remember, yeah, a lot of men were really getting into it. And they were like, oh yeah, 100%. And I was like, interesting.
All right, so that one's simple.
Yeah.
He's just overthinking. He's
100%. It's not like he was punting them kids or anything. He just beat them at a game.
Yeah. But you know what I always do in the first one? I always trick you with one that's really tame. And then it gets crazy. So, our next story also comes from Am I the Asshole? Title of this one reads, Am I the asshole for making sure my child won the prize?
Oh, God.
Here's your Karen.
Oh, my God.
Probably. So, story reads, happened a few years ago. Had my 2 young daughters at an amusement park with my sister-in-law and her 2 kids. All 4 kids are young children between 5 and 9. I had my youngest daughter, who was also the youngest child, with me all day. She was too afraid for most of the rides, and we walked around most of the day, and we played some of the chance games at the park. There was one game in particular she liked, mostly because she really wanted the large stuffed toy that was the prize. There were certain rules to win the large prize, including winning a certain number of times. Also, you had to win against a certain number of players. At the end of the day, we still hadn't won the large prize. The only way to do this was for me to get at least 2 of the other kids to play as well as me. I asked if any of the other kids would play so my daughter could have a chance at winning the larger prize, but my sister-in-law said she wasn't going to pay for her kids to play. I agreed to pay for all the kids, but I told them before they played that regardless of who won the game, that my youngest was going to win the prize. Since I had paid all day, I was paying for all the kids to play, and we were only playing so that my youngest could get the prize. I thought this was fine. It was quite expensive to pay for everyone to play. Of course, the oldest child, my niece, ended up winning, and when I instructed the worker to give my daughter the prize, my niece got upset, and so did my sister-in-law. Even though I had told them all ahead of time, they acted like I was cheating my niece. This really pissed me off. I didn't think I was being the bad guy here. If this was what was going to happen, we simply would have left with the smaller prize she had already won and been done with it. I can understand the child being upset, but my sister-in-law could have helped the situation instead of acting like I did something wrong. I didn't really have enough money to pay for multiple games so each child could win prizes, especially if my daughter, who was the youngest, would lose all of the rounds and I would have to pay enough times for her to beat her older cousins. My oldest was sad we were leaving and refused to play, and I had to play to have enough players for my youngest to win, so I couldn't help her win. Okay, so that's not what I thought she was going to do.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna be against some other random kids, and she was gonna make them lose or something. Like like they're like aiming, and she's like, I push them or something.
I will say though, this is still kind of bogus.
Yeah,
you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like that one like family vlogger or content creator who like, no, I don't even think she was that. She was like, she had her daughter and her daughter's friend, and she took them to like Five Below and let them each get one of those like, I don't know, some like blind box things.
Oh,
And the daughter got like a regular one, but the friend got like one of the cool rare ones. And the mom made the friend give her daughter the cool one.
Oh my God. Well, that's a family vlogger content creator.
And people were like, bro, we get it that you bought it and like it's your money. But the daughter's friend was so excited that she got that one, and you buy your daughter this shit all the time, and you made the friend give it to her. I think they switched, so it wasn't like the friend got nothing, but I was still like, bro, come on.
I wouldn't expect anything less from a family vlogger,
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
don't
but
I don't either. But like in this situation, like I get it. Your daughter was too scared of the ride, so she didn't really get to enjoy it. So the last thing she can do is get like a cool prize. But it's like, so you're gonna make your other nieces and nephews and stuff play this game, knowing that they aren't gonna win anything, or that if they do win, they technically aren't winning because they don't get a prize. So they beat you, the mom, at this game, and you still were like, okay, give the prize to her.
yeah, so really what it comes down to is it's a skill issue. The daughter's part, she's just not good enough at the game.
The young daughter and the mom, because the mom didn't even fucking win. The fucking niece won.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a skill issue.
It is. I don't know. I think that's bogus.
I think this could have been a teaching moment of like, oh well, if you want that, you have to win it. Instead of let's just rig the entire game so you will win it.
Yeah, because what's that teaching your daughter then?
Even though like I know these carnival games are rigged anyways.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think just being like to your kid, you're like your kid saying, I want that. And you being like, okay, so let's rig the system so you can get it. Instead of being like, okay, well, get it the way you're supposed to get it.
Yeah, or just win her a small prize so then all the kids can get something. Like, I get it. She didn't get to go on rides and other kids may have been able to. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's, come on. It's a fucking cheap-ass stuffed animal. That's what it is. You can go to Target and get the same fucking thing.
Yeah, you probably spend more money on it because you have to play the game multiple times to get the
and
you have to pay for it each time. You could probably buy the stuffed animal for the price it costs to play the game multiple times.
Probably for the cost of fucking admission to this place.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you doing?
Because also then like it doesn't feel like you're winning the prize.
Yeah, no.
At least to me, I would be like, well, I didn't win that. That we just rigged that to win.
And the thing is too is like those nieces and nephews, I can't remember if she said nieces and nephews. They are always gonna remember this. You know, they're gonna remember the aunt that made them give up their toy, their prize. They're gonna remember that. It's gonna be something that haunts them. And they're gonna end up resenting your daughter for it.
Yeah. Well,
because who knows how often she gets treatment like this.
She's claiming that they knew, like, before they started the game that they were supposed to lose on purpose, or that the daughter was going to get the prize anyways. But I mean, but seeing how upset they were about it, I don't think that they did.
I don't think they fully comprehended that.
Well, yeah, I guess they're children, but
like I don't think they fully understood, okay, if I win, I don't get the prize.
Well, I think they only wouldn't understand that if they're like spoiled kids. Because I'm like, okay, if they understood that, because I mean, even if you're 5 years old, I think you would kind of be able to understand that.
Yeah, but I guess I also would feel upset and disappointed if I put in the effort and I beat everyone and I won however many times, and the carny looked at me and was like, pick out your prize, and then I pick out the big one, and then my aunt comes and is like, okay, Carney, give that to her. Give that to the little one. I would be like, I don't even get to hold it. I don't even get to touch that thing. Like, I don't get to claim it yet. I have to he's just gonna give it to her. I don't get to touch it. Are you for real?
That does suck.
I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I would be upset. Even if I knew that was what was gonna happen. I'd still be upset. I'd be like, damn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because now I just put in all that work and I have no reward.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to blame the kids for being upset about something that a kid would be upset about, but the sister-in-law, she did know that that's what the plan was, and she's getting upset about it after the fact.
She either should have said, no, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to have my kids do that.
Yeah, like if she really had a problem with that, then she shouldn't have agreed to
I agree with that.
In the first place. So I think this is kind of like everyone except for the kids.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because I don't think the mom should have done this in the first place. And I don't think the sister should have agreed to do it, but she did agree to do it, so she shouldn't have got upset about it after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone could have done a little bit better.
Why is this, first of all, why is OP bringing this up a few years later?
This is years later. Oh, yeah. Happened a few years ago.
What is this? she wake up at like 1 a.m. one night and was like, oh, this haunts me. And it's like, I have to ask
I
Reddit
have
their
to ask
opinion.
Reddit about it.
I gotta get Reddit's thoughts. I can imagine they immediately were like, you're the asshole, you're the asshole.
Let's see. Well, they did vote it. Everyone sucks here.
Okay.
Well, actually, someone said not the asshole.
Ooh.
Actually, a few people said not the asshole. Okay, well, let's see. Not the asshole. Had you not thoroughly explained the situation from the start, I'd say you were the asshole, but your sister-in-law should have handled that better instead of trying to make you the bad guy when you paid for all of it. That is true.
Yeah, but again, I just feel like the OP shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have done it in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, she shouldn't have done that. Maybe like older kids, like older teenagers who don't want a stuffed animal, be like, can you please help? But if they're like younger than, I would say like 11, then it's like, you can't really, come on.
Yeah, and
That's
they're
just
all
like child labor.
9 or younger.
You know?
Yeah.
And they don't even get paid for it.
Unpaid child labor.
Yeah. You could say that her paying for it was the payment for the kids, but it's also not. Okay? She didn't give them money. I'm reporting her to cops for child labor, breaking child labor laws.
This person said, not the asshole. You clearly stated the rules of your own type of game, which is called let my child win so that we can get the large stuffy, which I understand since it's always fun for a kid to take something home from a carnival. They agreed, and then they got upset. There's a good chance that your niece got upset not because she lost her prize, but because your youngest would be guaranteed a prize, but her mother wouldn't do the same for her children. Is this a weird way to get a prize? Perhaps. But I do remember this one time I went to a carnival game when I was a small child, and my cousins and I played until we made sure that we each got a stuffy. It was $2 per play, and a $10 stuffy is actually one heck of a bargain.
Okay, but that's not the scenario that happened here. And I highly doubt that this child who's whatever age is upset that their mom's not gonna do the same thing for them.
That is
such a crazy assumption to make.
Especially of someone who's between 5 and 9.
Yeah.
To have
and the
that level
perhaps
of,
get your fedora out of
I
here,
was
you
gonna
fuck
say,
ass
yeah,
loser. What? See, that just tells me exactly what I need to know about that Redditor who responded.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people are not grasping that these are
children,
and the two adults in this situation are the ones who are responsible for them, not the kids here. So
yeah, you know, at the end of the day, what should have happened is the mom OP should have just bought her fucking daughter a stuffed animal, gone to the store, pick out a stuffed animal. It would have been cheaper. You would have saved the headache. You would have saved the entitlement. Done and over.
I don't even think she should have bought her stuffy. I think she should have said, like,
she really
to the
wanted
daughter,
her kid to have a stuffy. Okay, go get her one then.
Well, I'm just saying, I think, like, if the daughter was like, oh, I really want that big stuffy, I'd be like, okay, well, you have to play the game then to get it. Like, instead of just, like, buying it for her, being like, okay, well, let's use your nieces and nephews over here to rig the game so you can get it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a valuable, like, teaching moment.
Especially because if she would have lost, which, well, it's also like the mom said that they had to have enough players, so she had to play, so she couldn't help her daughter play good. So it's like, okay, don't play that game then. Play a game where you can help your daughter try to win something small. Yeah. Because I guarantee, you know, I actually am agreeing with you. Because I guarantee the daughter winning something on her own or with help would have been 10 times better for her and her enjoyment than just getting handed one.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. Because then she actually worked for it. And I feel like even if you're that young, you can still feel the difference between somebody just giving, like, handing, like, a handout for you and actually doing it yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the comments are not it, but the overall verdict on the post was everyone sucks, which
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone does.
Anyways, on to our next story, which also comes from, can you guess? Yeah, it's Am I the Asshole? Okay. Title reads, Am I the Asshole for stranding a girl at the fair? Story reads, this happened in like late last summer, maybe early fall. This was the 4th date, I think, so we weren't really together yet. She wanted to go to the fair, but I told her that I'm scared of rides and wouldn't go on any. She kept bugging me to go, so I folded, and she said it was fine to not go on rides. We get there, and whenever she would go on a ride, she would like try to convince me to go on it with her. But like I said, okay. But like, dude, like he's writing this like it's like a text or something. And that, but like, okay. But like I said, I would refuse every time. I'm not going to have a panic attack just for a minute ride and whiplash LMAO. Whenever she would go, she would like do an exasperated sigh and go on. Eventually she started making fun of me and call, wait, did I write this? Because what the fuck? Okay. Eventually she started making fun of me and calling me a pussy and whatnot.
Oh my God, Julian. This is beautiful.
That's not it. Okay. She seemed pretty frustrated. So this happened like 8 times. And when she went on one ride, I just left and blocked her. I can understand if she didn't want to date me because I'm scared of shit and not manly, but she could have been cool about it at least. I was her ride, so I felt kind of bad leaving her there.
Not the asshole. He said multiple times that he didn't like rides. And after like the second try, she should have just given up, you know?
Yeah, so he said that happened
like
8 times.
Yeah. And then she started being mean to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's the asshole for leaving.
Yeah, especially after he stated I don't like rides and said no multiple times.
Yeah, but I'm guessing this guy's young considering how he wrote this.
100%.
So he's got plenty
There's more
of
fish in the
time
sea.
to find someone else.
Yeah, who doesn't like rides? You know, I can agree though that fair rides are really sketchy. Like, I'm gonna lie, when we were at the fair and on some of them rides, I was thinking, what if this just fell apart right here now? You know, like on the one where we had to sit up in the air for could you hear me yelling? I was yelling your name. I was like,
oh, was
Julian!
it the one we were on opposite sides?
Yeah.
No, I could not hear you at all.
I was like, Julian, can you hear me?
I did not hear a thing.
Oh. Oh. But like when we were up there, I was like, what if this just fell apart and I come crashing down?
Well, if we survive, it'd be a nice settlement,
Yeah.
I guess.
I also thought that about the boat. I was like, okay, when we're swinging, you know, like when you're all the way up, I was like, what if it just fell and we're just plummet down, you know?
Yeah, what if, right?
And I also thought that same thing about the round one. Because I was like, what if when we were up there, when we were like, stop edging us.
Yeah.
I was like, what if genuinely we are stuck here?
I think that has happened before.
It
like
has.
where they get stuck at the top and they have to like sit there for like hours.
See, I couldn't, because just the amount of time we sat up there, my head hurt.
Yeah.
The blood was all in my head and I was like, I'm gonna die if we have to sit up here for another 5 seconds. Please stop edging us, bro.
I don't know if once it gets up there, if they actually have control of moving it, or if it's just like
we all gotta move,
or if it's just like a weight thing. But
Yeah.
if it just happens to be perfect, it can get stuck there. I don't know.
You would think then that they would be like, okay, heavy people sit at the front and back.
That if it gets stuck up there, then you see the guy going like, guys, push this way. Go like
Everyone,
this.
because I was like, bro, please get me down because my head's gonna blow up.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this person's account.
Is he an r/man?
No, he's posted an r/male grooming. Think this hairstyle suits me?
Oh,
Does it suit him?
why did I think male grooming like pedophiles?
Oh no.
I was like,
No.
I was like, what? He's grooming? Oh my God, that's worse than
No,
r/man.
like hair. I wanted to see if he had had posted he had like a girlfriend now or something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
see. But no, okay. Oh, this one. Okay, he's 27 now. That was 231 days ago. Oh no, this post is only 227. So he's 27 and he still types like that. Because I assume that he was like 18 or something.
I was thinking he was 18 too.
This changes my perspective on the story. It changes my perspective a little bit that he's 27 or 26
And
at the time of this.
bitch.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, honestly.
If he's scared of roller coasters, he's probably scared of getting a tattoo. And
Actually, it's funny you say that because this was 60 days ago, my first tattoo.
okay, that's actually a cool tattoo. But why is that on his leg?
I named him Mandy. Okay, it's not cool anymore, is it?
Ooh.
This is rare because most of the accounts that post on Am I the Asshole don't have any posts, but this guy is so active. And I love it. He plays the piano too, I guess.
Damn.
It's on his personal YouTube channel that has his full name.
Bro, you can find his full legal name from his Reddit. That's crazy.
That's you shouldn't do that.
You should not do that. Do not let Redditors know who you are.
Listen, you need some confidentiality on the internet.
I like how we're saying that, but we're on the internet.
Oh yeah, and my YouTube channel is my
full name.
Not this channel, but my channel is my name.
Yeah. Maybe we should learn something. See, here's the thing though. I would never have my full name be connected to Reddit.
Oh, yeah. I would never use my
because like on Reddit, it's like no one would know who exactly I am.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of Reddit, I think.
Yeah, is to be anonymous. So I would never have anything that could ever link you back to actually me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, then if you want to go on Reddit and be weird, you can't, you know?
Yeah, you can't go on Reddit and be weird if you put your actual name.
Yeah, because then people can link it back to you.
Right.
And that's just embarrassing.
But hey, you have posts on Reddit. I'm going to stalk your Reddit. And now I found your YouTube and your full name.
Expect to follow on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter.
Yep. Expect mail to your house.
Yeah.
Anyways, on to our next story, which of course comes from Am I the Asshole again? Title reads, Am I the Asshole for suggesting to my husband that we go on a ride at the fair?
Definitely need more context.
But let's see. Okay.
I think I recall doing that once or twice.
You asked your husband to go on?
No, I asked someone. We asked someone else to go on a ride, you know, and they didn't. Not my husband. I don't have a husband.
Okay, well, let's see if this is anything like that. So my husband, 40-year-old guy, and I, 39-year-old woman, went with his brother's children, and our children, 6-year-old boy and 13-year-old boy, went to a small fair/carnival type event in town as something different for the children to do. After about an hour of taking them on rides, I pointed at a salt and pepper shaker ride and suggested to my husband that he and I go on it while his brother took the kids to the bumper cars. This suggestion did not get the reaction I expected from my husband, however. He was immediately angry and started going on about how fairs are for children and we are there for the children, and that I was selfish and childish and was going to put everyone out by having to wait on me to go on this ride. I apologized and said it was fine. We didn't have to go on the ride. I just thought it could be a fun thing to do together, but we could do our own thing when the kids aren't around, that I thought us going on a ride wouldn't be a big deal, etc. But he got us tickets and we rode it. I didn't try to persuade him, and I don't know what made him change his mind, but was it selfish of me to suggest we went on one ride together?
What the fuck? Divorce this man. What?
Okay, this is confusing me because this was voted asshole.
No, the husband put
that's what this post is marked
as.
as.
What? She suggested that they go on a ride because the uncle was taking the kids, so they had some time to kind of do a ride by themselves. And she's voted the asshole. Can we read? Can we read why these people are voting this? Did she do an update or something that's like what?
Oh, I think maybe this is why. I think this comment is okay. Why do so many women on Reddit marry such horrible sounding men? What other dumb things does he get mad over? How many other times has he publicly removed the joy from your life? You're the asshole to yourself for tolerating his craptastic behavior.
So people are voting her the asshole because she's with an asshole.
Yeah.
So you're victim blaming. That's the most Reddit thing to do, honestly. Yeah, that's not what she was asking, guys. She's asking if she's the asshole for asking to go on a ride, not for marrying a dick.
Okay, actually the funny thing is the only comment that I'm seeing that says you're the asshole is that one I just read. So I don't know how the post got marked as she's the asshole, because the other comments are like, not the asshole. Geez, what a horrible attitude toward life your husband seems to have. Can't even go on a carnival ride, much like theme parks, fairs, and carnivals are for anyone.
That's what I was going to say too. Like, why it's not a kid thing. I'm a grown-ass adult going on rides.
I guess maybe that one comment was from like a moderator of Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm right, so.
Was it upvoted a lot or something?
Oh, it does have 274 upvotes, which it is the most upvoted comment.
So I wonder if that's why.
But that's dumb, though.
I know, it is dumb.
That's dumb.
It is dumb, because I was sitting here like, she's the asshole? What? The thing is like, you can't necessarily be like, well, you're the asshole for doing this to yourself. Okay, how though? Like, what if he gaslit her or manipulated her or wasn't like this when they first got together? So it's like, why are you calling her the asshole for doing this to herself? She's probably in a bad situation. If this is a common thing, she's in a bad situation. You should be more supportive rather than jumping on her. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
this
part that
is-
bothers me a little bit.
That is kind of sad that is the most upvoted comment.
Yeah. Because, like, yeah, she is doing herself a disservice, sure, of being married to someone that's like this, but she has kids with him. She probably has a whole life with him. Probably when they first got together, he might not have been like this, or he love bombs or is manipulative, you know? So it's like, bro, give her some support. Be like, girl, you're not the asshole in this situation, but leave his ass. Leave him.
Yeah, instead of just being, I don't understand why so many women on Reddit just marry horrible sounding
See,
men.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, first of all, we should be mad at the men for being like this, not at the woman for marrying men like this. I'm pissed. This has ruined my night.
Yeah, because it's like, do you think women want to marry men like this? Or do you think maybe it's because the men are manipulative and they kind of get tricked into marrying them? Like, stop blaming
the woman for it.
Yeah, like this.
You should be like that your husband's an asshole. He's horrible. You should leave him. He's bad for you.
And that's, and like, this is the thing again, like, I think I talked about this last time, how so many people on Reddit do not realize that these are like real people and there are like external factors besides what you are just reading in this story.
Yes.
So in a vacuum, it's easy to say, like, if you only live on Reddit, it's easy to be like, yeah, I don't understand why so many women on Reddit marry such horrible men. But like, go outside, touch grass, get off of Reddit. It is really sad that is the most upvoted comment because clearly you've never been outside before.
No.
Because what the fuck?
And clearly, for me, that just kind of shows me that whoever commented that has some sort of resentment to women or women in negative situations if it was another woman. Because I know I'm going to say that and someone's going to be like, that was a woman who posted that. Okay, well then she's a bitch. You know, like she's a bitch. But it just feels like a resentful person for some reason who has beef with women. What?
Okay.
Can we find their full name?
I clicked on the profile. Their banner for their thing is okay. So their name is Lady Marzana. This user's love language is cash.
Bro, what the fuck?
And
was she sugar baby?
It did warn me when I clicked on this account that it was a not safe for work account. But so did that other guy's account, and there was nothing on there. So I was like, whatever. But this
she's an OnlyFans.
Wait, this pin post it's a picture or a video of something. It links to redgifs.com, which is like, it's usually where there's a bunch of porn on there that's posted on Reddit. So this is an adult website. Are you
gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what it is.
And you're an ugly bitch too. What the fuck? Like you have any room to be talking about girl? That's not a flattering video either.
Yeah, no. Oh, she's posting in r/camgirl problems.
Yeah, I don't ever want to hear your opinion, bro. See, that's even worse when you find out it's a woman who makes a comment like that. It's like, bro, be supportive to other women. You can say that you need to leave him and you're being an asshole to yourself, but you can also put it nicely and supportively. God.
Oh, she's really active in r/dating advice, r/am I overreacting? Am I the asshole? Am I the jerk?
God damn.
These are all comments that she's commented on posts. It keeps going. This is a Redditor. This is a true bred Redditor.
You know, she probably doesn't have a job. This cam girl thing is her only job, so she can be on Reddit all day.
Yeah.
See, I'm just disappointed that it's a woman saying that.
Yeah, that makes it even worse.
Because, like, you know, maybe she meant it in, like, a way of, like, being, like, supportive, but, like, in a mean way, you know, like, when you kind of have to, like, rip the Band-Aid off. But it's like, I don't know. That's when someone consistently keeps saying that they're in a bad situation. Then you can be like, bro, come on, grow the fuck, come on. We gotta get out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time that, or we don't know how often this woman has posted, but OP's posted. But it's like, first of all, can we answer the question? You know, that's another thing I've seen on Reddit that pisses me off. I saw something I think it was actually when I was at work. I wasn't on Reddit. I was like scrolling on Reels and you know, like how Reddit stories come up.
Yeah.
And the thing was, what is like the worst thing someone's told you on their deathbed. And everyone's like, well, it's not really the worst thing. Then don't post. Do not post it. I want to know the worst thing someone's ever confessed to when they're dying. I do not want to know what they said the last time. Go to a different sub-post, bro, and post that shit. I want to know the worst things. I want people confessing to murder. Okay? Not them just forgetting your name. Get the fuck out of here. That's horrible for you, but it's not horrible enough for me to listen to this goddamn story. Anyone who starts off with, well, this isn't really what the post is asking, get off the post then. Don't post it.
Yeah.
God, it pisses me off.
But what I wanted to look at, though, is you said you don't know like if this other person has posted about this before. So I looked at the account. It looks like she did once. She made one post before this.
Oh.
Because this was only posted 16 days ago. She has made a post before this, but she's also made 5 posts about him after this one. And this was only 16 days ago. Oh, well, I'll just read the titles from them first. So the one before this one was posted in r/narcissistic spouses. And the title is, what does he actually think when he says things that are in opposition? But the posts after the post that we just read that she's posted about, the first one is an r/emotional abuse.
No.
And she titled it, tell me about nice things an abusive partner did for you.
She's putting it together. Maybe that post was the kick in the ass she needed. What the fuck?
And then she posted, actually, this is all on the same day. This is all 16 days ago. These 3 posts, the one we just read, the emotional abuse one, and then she posted again on narcissistic spouses. Tell me something nice your narcissistic spouse did for you. So abusive, narcissistic. And then 9 days ago, she posted an r/domestic violence.
No.
And the title is, husband says his anger is normal. And she also reposted that post into r/marriage. So it looks like maybe she is realizing.
Okay, maybe I take a little bit back what I said, because maybe that comment, voting her asshole, really was the kick in the ass she needed. Could have worded it a little bit nicer and maybe answered her question, but whatever.
Maybe she's in the process of a divorce. Hopefully. All from a fair ride.
Yeah, starting to put it together. Girl, I hope you get out.
Yeah.
If you're watching, I hope you get out.
See what the fair can do to people.
Yeah, and I hope you drain him of all his money if he has any.
Anyways, next one comes from, can you guess? Wrong, because it's not Am I the Asshole? It's r/entitled parents. Title reads, 2 parents left their infant toddler to go on an amusement ride. Story reads, I went to Six Flags over this past weekend to celebrate a friend's birthday, and all was well until we were in line for this one ride. This line wasn't too bad, and it was about a 30 to 40 minute wait. As we were waiting in line, I noticed these 2 parents with their toddler in a stroller just ahead of my group, and I thought to myself, how are they going to watch the kid and go on the ride? I naturally assumed that each parent would take a turn on the ride and one would stay behind to watch their kid because that's the logical solution. Nope. When it was time for them to go on the ride, we watched these idiots roll their stroller with the poor kid in tow into the fast lane, and they both freaking turn around and head towards their seats on the ride. The poor kid immediately starts crying and sobbing for their mommy. Even the poor worker in the fast lane, who was definitely not getting paid enough to handle this bullshit, just froze in shock. I hope he added babysitter to his resume, because that's what the idiots clearly thought that was on his name tag. When I tell you everybody in line was just in shock, like jaws were dropped and mean glares were thrown, to the woman who was working the microphone and managing the ride, you are everybody's hero. She immediately grabbed the mic and said, absolutely not. Your child needs a supervisor at all times. Finally, the parents read the room and shamefully got out of their seats to mend to their child and conversed on the way over. It was clear that they agreed the mother should go first, and off she went. The camaraderie I felt in that line that day was top tier, because everyone was glaring at the father as he was waiting for his partner to finish the ride. By the time it was the father's turn, it was clear that he got secondhand embarrassment from public shaming, because by the time he took his seat, his head was lowered. This was when my group's turn to take the ride as well, and it was awesome. The parents could not have gotten out of that ride any faster by the time we finished. May this just be a PSA. If you're a parent and your child is too young to go on any of the rides, please, for the love of God, just hire a nanny for the day, or even better, leave your kids at home with a trusted babysitter. The workers at theme parks are not your freaking babysitters, and that is not within their job description. It's embarrassing that that's even has to be explained.
Damn. Y'all should have started booing, though. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo. That's so crazy to just park your kid in the stroller. And I'm surprised that they let them in line even with the kid.
Well, because they probably thought that they were going to do one at a time,
yeah.
like everyone else initially thought.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if you have a kid that's young enough that they still have to be in a stroller and you can't hire a babysitter, I'm like, why are you even going to a theme park?
I was gonna say, why even go?
Like, why are you
And
doing
why
that?
go if the kid can't enjoy the theme park either?
And that's the thing, is like they don't care about the kid doing anything. They just want to have fun. But I'm like, if you have a kid who's that young,
Yeah.
that they're in a stroller, I'm like, sorry, but you're not gonna have fun for a while, unfortunately.
See, that's the thing that like sometimes bothers me is like you have a kid, you have an obligation to take care of said child. And if you want to go out and have fun, you have to find someone who's willing to watch your child so you can go out and have fun. But it's also like you have to understand, to a point, you have to sacrifice some things when you have a child.
Yeah.
Like that's like the whole point of having a child, is that you kind of have to sacrifice some of the things you used to do.
Yeah.
You can still do them, but you also have to make sure that your child is taken care of, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize before they have a kid that they are gonna have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they do, they're like, yeah, I'm not willing to sacrifice anything, so I guess I'll just leave my kid with the person at the amusement park.
An employee can watch him. Like, what? First of all, I'm just thinking about like when I watch my nephew or even like my little sister, like when they were that young. I was young, but I would never in my right mind be like, I'm going to leave you here with a stranger. Sure, they work here, so they're kind of safe. But I'm going to leave you here as I get on a ride. And then I'm going to be gone on this ride. So who knows what could happen to this child? Someone can come up and just take the stroller. You know, they could just take your kid. Is it less likely to happen when there's a crowd? Okay, maybe. But it's also like, you don't know the shit that can happen. You know, what if your kid somehow gets out of the stroller and just starts wandering around and just walks away? What if they start choking on something and you're not there? What the fuck are you gonna? What if you die on this ride? Like what?
Or what if the kid hops out of the stroller and like gets in front of the ride and dies?
You know what I thought when you first started reading the story? I was like, are they gonna park the stroller on the ride? Are they gonna try to take the kid on the ride? Like when you said they rolled the stroller over, I was like, they're rolling it onto the ride? I was like, what? That's what I thought was happening. So I'm kind of glad.
That would have been great.
I would have died.
But I love the worker for being over the mic like, absolutely not. No. You need a supervisor for your kid at all times.
I imagine that was the first ride they went on for the day too.
I hope it was, because if they did this at other rides and got away with it, that's terrible.
I just don't think they could have gotten away with it, because I feel like too many people would have been glaring at them, making comments to them, and I feel like the workers would have immediately called the supervisor on their walkie-talkie and been like, get these people out of here.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like this had to have been the first ride. They definitely left after that too.
Oh yeah.
They definitely like, fuck, we're out $100 for paying for this day, but we can't go back. The moral of the story is I'm not saying you can't have fun if you have kids, but it's like you have an obligation to take care of your child and get their needs and comfort situated before you can go have fun. That's like what a responsible adult does.
I think so many people, they want the benefits of having a kid around, but not.
What are the benefits?
I think the benefits only come once they're not when they're this young, only when they're
they can do chores.
5 or older. Like they're old enough that you can have like a conversation with them. You know, like a semi-intelligent conversation.
Yeah. See, my thing is like I can't see myself dedicating my time to a child that I produced. First of all, producing a child sounds disgusting to me.
Well, using the word produced is like...
That's what it is.
That's a weird choice of words.
What do you want me to call it?
Because when I think of like producing, I'm like, oh, like an executive producer for like a TV show.
I
or
think
like,
of producing
we're producing this video.
I think of like making goods, bro. I'm producing.
I've never thought about producing that way, but I guess maybe that's why they call it produce. Like the food.
What?
The food. You know, like the produce section. Maybe they call it produce because it is like produced food. Because like it's made and like grown.
I was thinking more like in a factory, like you produce goods.
But like the produce section, like food is like all food that is like grown, right?
Yeah, it is. But I was mainly thinking of like a factory. Like,
I when I think of factory, I think of manufactured.
okay, I can't imagine manufacturing a child.
Okay, but you're not a factory. You're not a factory
And I'm
or
not
a
a
produce
vegetable.
section. So,
I'm not a vegetable either.
so yeah, those parents are obviously the asshole. This isn't even an Am I the Asshole post.
They're
but
entitled.
yeah. But guess what? We've got a bonus story for you.
Dun, dun,
6
dun.
story. Never done more than 5. But got another one from entitled parents. Title reads, entitled mom throws temper tantrum at the mention of checking her kid's height. I would, if the kid was too short and the mom was arguing with me, I'd be like, okay, sign this waiver. And then
He's
I'd
gonna
let
get
him on
thrown off
anyway.
the ride.
And then they get thrown off and die.
Thrown off and die is crazy.
Okay, so story reads, greetings all, first time poster, long time lurker. During the summer, I worked at a small boardwalk amusement park where we operate some carnival rides and games. As you could expect, dealing with entitled parents and their families is something we deal with every day. But a few nights ago, I witnessed the most surreal display of entitlement I've ever seen, and I think it deserves a post on this subreddit. One of our most popular rides is a paratrooper-style family ride. For those of you that don't know, it's a lot like a Ferris wheel tilted at an angle, and families can sit in these cars that go around. Since there's only a lap bar to hold in the riders, there's a 36-inch minimum for children to ride even with their parents. Since it's getting towards the end of our operating season, some operators are getting a bit loose on their height restriction enforcement, and we've been on high alert for riders that are too short. Cue the entitlement. So the way we operate the ride is one employee collects the rider's tickets and assigns them to a car while the other stands inside and helps load/unload the passengers. One group that was coming to load was the entitled mother and her 2 younger kids. And I could tell that the youngest of the 2 kids, the little kid, was rather close to the height limit minimum. I flagged down my coworker to check if she height checked a little kid, to which she said no. By then, the entitled mother and her 2 kids were getting settled in their car and were waiting for me to secure the restraints. So I walked over to them and asked if I could check a little kid's height quickly. Me. Hey, ma'am, I just have to check the little guy's height real quick. I'm pretty sure he's good, but I have to double check. Entitled mother, sternly, no, that's not necessary. He rode yesterday. I was taken aback at how aggressive entitled mother was being right off the bat, as it's exceptionally rare for parents to be outright nasty when you ask to check their height. Usually we hear some kind of passive-aggressive remark, but never straight up yelling. Plus, in the amusement park business, we hear the whole, well, he rode this ride yesterday thing all the time. If anything, it's a big red flag that the parents know their kid is too short and doesn't want us to check them. So now I'm even more inclined to check, and sure as hell, she wasn't going to back down. Me, I'm sure he did, but I still have to check his height. It's for his own safety. Entitled mother, not necessary at all. By now, the little kid was starting to cry, likely from his crazy mom getting all in my face and yelling at the top of her lungs. I was appalled at the nerve of entitled mother. Me, yes it is. Entitled mother, don't you dare check his height. He's been riding this all summer. My fuse was shortening real quick, and after all, I had a ride to operate, so I picked little kid up from his seat, very gently of course, and walked him over to the height stick. This poor guy still in hysterics. The height check took not even 5 seconds, and sure enough, he was just tall enough, so I walked him back to his mom and helped him into his seat. Entitled mother was still screaming, even though little kid was all good to go. Entitled mother, not necessary at all. At all. Like, geez, she would not back down, so I quickly locked up their restraint and got them on their way. Once the ride was going, the mom seemed to simmer down, which honestly made me happy because I would have hated to have seen the kids' day ruined because their witch of a mom decided to go apeshit on some 17-year-old just trying to do his job. From what I heard from my boss, they did file a complaint, but management just shrugged it off since the whole situation was absolutely insane. Please, please, please know that if a ride operator has to check your height, it's not because we're trying to be a dick. It's because, believe it or not, We are concerned about rider safety and want to take all the steps necessary to prevent an accident. Not to mention, we're legally obligated to do so. So no, Sharon, I will not just take your word that your kid is tall enough, you inept, half-rotten cantaloupe.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, this caught me, and I have to make a comment on it. Why the fuck would he pick up the kid?
Because he was...
But like, the mom screaming at you, the last thing I would ever do is pick up the child of a screaming mother who's a Karen, walk their crying happy ass over to the height thing, check their height, and then carry their asses back. One, I can't believe the mom didn't fucking chase after him or cause a scene that he's picking up this child.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that she didn't.
Like, that's the part that got me the most. Like, one, you'd never catch me picking up someone else's kid. Two, I am just definitely surprised that she did not scream, "He's kidnapping! Kidnapper!" or something like that. Because you got off scot-free for this Karen, bro.
But also, that's kind of a power move to be like, I don't care what you're saying. I'm checking anyway.
I mean, like, I'm not saying he shouldn't have checked the height. I'm just saying I would never have the gall to pick up another person's child. Even if the mom asked me to, I'd be like, oh, I'm not comfortable picking up a child, a random kid. Because, like, I don't know them, you know?
Yeah.
And also, like I said, in this dude's situation, he has a mom that's supposedly screaming at him or yelling at him about this. And he's going to go and be like, okay, whatever, and pick the kid up. And the mom doesn't do anything about that. That's the part that makes me feel like, could this be real?
He is also a kid, though. He said he was 17.
Okay, but that doesn't stop Karens. I've seen Karens fucking try to murder a 7-year-old because they were riding their bike or something.
Yeah.
You know, like...
No, but I'm saying since the employee was also a kid, maybe she was less freaked out by like someone picking up her kid because it's also another kid.
I don't know. See, I'm just saying that if I was on a ride again with my nephew and the ride operator was like, we have to check his height, I would immediately be like, okay, that's fine, check his height. But if he came over and just picked the kid up, my nephew up, and walked away, I'd be like, what are you doing? Put him down. I'd be like, what is happening here? I would not be happy.
Okay, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more funny that is to me.
Like,
I don't know.
what? Like, even if it is, first of all, I'm sorry, I would be more terrified of a 17-year-old just picking up the kid. I'd be like, where are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Like, I would be like, okay, fine, if you're gonna get to the length of picking up the kid, I'm gonna walk over with you guys. Like, I'm gonna make the kid walk. You know? That part is really funny.
It's really funny to me.
I mean, it's funny, but it's also like, what the fuck is what? No one mentioned that. Read the comments. Has anyone mentioned him picking up the kid, or are they all like, yeah, entitled mom?
No, nobody said that.
I'm going crazy. How has no one mentioned how absurd that is?
I honestly don't think it's that crazy because they have to check like by law.
But that's not like the thing that I'm like getting at. That I don't care that he had to check the kid's height. Why are you picking up a random child?
Well, because I'm guessing wherever the height check thing is for that, it's not something that they can move away from wherever the kid is.
Okay, but why do they have to pick the kid up? Why can't they be like, unstrap the kid and be like, come on, let's go check your height real quick?
Wait, I don't even
Why
think
did they have to pick the kid up? Why couldn't they have the kid walk?
Wait, I thought the kid wasn't even in the ride yet. I thought he was just like standing.
No, they said that it sounds like he had the job of strapping everyone in because he asked his coworker if the coworker height checked the kid. And the coworker was like, no, coworker was like, no, I did not. The kid's already on the ride and he's like, let's go check your height. Oh yeah, he said he picked
him up from his seat. Okay.
Why are you picking him up? Unless he just like kind of like helped him up and then the kid walked. I just pictured this dude picking him up under his shoulders and walking over to the height check.
Maybe by picked him up, he means he kind of just like helped him out of the seat.
I'm hoping
and he
that's
walked
what it
over
is,
there.
Because all I'm picturing is he picks the kid up off the seat, holds him like this under the armpit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
and
too.
Walks over to the height check, sets the kid down. Like, oh, okay, you're good. Picks him back up and walks him back. Like, that's what I've been picturing. How does he word he took the kid over?
He says, so I picked up little kid from his seat very gently, of course. Oh, and walked him over to the height stick. Okay, so they did walk. Okay, we just didn't read it right. We just didn't.
No, the
understand
thing
it
is I probably just blanked it out because I heard him pick up the kid, and I immediately went, "He's picking up the kid? He's carrying the kid?" Like, that's immediately what my mind went to. I was tweaking out. I was like, I don't care like he did this, but I'm also like, I don't understand how you didn't get screamed at by the Karen for that. If you did carry the child.
I just think the concept of like if a kid's not cooperating, just pick them up like they're a cat and just move them. I swear sometimes that like when those like little kids were like walking in front of us like in our way, I just wanted to like pick them up and move them.
Yeah, place them out of the way. Kids really have no spatial awareness. They'll walk right in front of your path, and then you'll almost step on them, and they'll look up at you like,
yeah, they'll literally be like,
sorry. It's like, get the fuck out of my way, bro.
you almost stepped on my pickaxe. So nobody mentioned about, okay, because he didn't actually pick up.
Well, he picked up the kid, but he did not carry the kid, which is what I was for some reason imagining.
So somebody said, wow, how dare you make sure that her child was not going to slip out of that restraint and fall to death? You are really the absolute worst. Seriously, why do people think that height restrictions exist on rides? It's not because ride operators are... It's not because ride operators are poopy head meanie pants. It's because they're at risk of actual death if the kid doesn't fit the restraints right on the ride that hurdles them several stories into the air. That's why small children have booster seats in cars too. Same principle. OP said, it's not like they're about to strap themselves into a several ton metal death machine manufactured by a company notorious for literally killing people. No. It's just that we're big doo-doo brains that get our kicks by ruining the days of innocent young children.
You know, that is something that always, like my mom, like if we ever went to something and there's a height requirement, my mom was very much like, if you don't meet the height requirement, too bad, you can't go on the ride, you know? So it's like so crazy for me to think that there are parents, moms, dads, anyone out there who's like, who cares?
You're probably going to care if your kid dies.
Yeah, I hope, okay, put your kid on the ride then and see what happens. Watch them get flown.
So he didn't pick up the kid.
Well, he picked up the kid, but he
didn't carry the kid.
Didn't carry the kid. So
that would have been funnier though, but he didn't.
I was literally tweaking out about that. I was like, I can't believe this dude picked up and carried a child.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
And he's not. Well, that wasn't even an asshole, but
it was an entitled mom though, who didn't care about her child's safety.
What was the craziest one?
I think the craziest one was the one. Just because of what we learned after, is the woman who was like, am I the asshole for asking if we go on this ride?
Yeah.
Because finding out then that she's posting on domestic violence and narcissistic spouse and stuff is crazy.
All started from a carnival ride to now an abusive husband. So.
Discovering that your husband's abusive.
Yeah. I enjoyed stalking everybody's account today.
Yeah, that was
usually they don't have any. And I'm actually stalking the last post account because I forgot to do that. So let's see what's on it. They're not active anymore. Last post was 6 years ago, but so they're a furry, I guess. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, that post is crazy.
First time making a tail. The first post this account ever made was an art/furry, and it's buying fur ?
It totally checks out that he worked at a fucking carnival or like a boardwalk amusement park thing. So he's been a furry since he's been 17? He's been buying fur?
Guess so.
How did he get the money to afford a fursuit?
From his job at the boardwalk amusement park.
Oh my God. We have to stalk everyone's Reddit account now when we read their stories.
Well, usually they don't have any posts or the account is deleted or it's a throwaway.
That's because we've always read like horrendous stories of like, am I the asshole? And they're voted, yeah, they're the asshole or something. Imagine how crazy it is that this dude doesn't know us and we're talking about him.
Yeah, that's why you don't.
And he one day, if he ever finds us, right, in this video, he's going to be like, that's me. He's going to be like, oh my, that's an invasion of privacy. Okay, lock your accounts up, bro.
Yeah, you put it all out there. It's not my problem.
Yeah, internet safety, man.
Like I said earlier, as my YouTube channel name is my name. And you could easily find me somewhere else, but I don't care.
I just private all my accounts anyway, so it's like,
Yeah, I don't, but whatever. I'm sure people have talked about me before, probably somehow from, I don't know.
Well, if that street light fucking video says anything.
All right, guys. So that's it.
Yeah, nothing more to say.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, remember to like, comment down below any other topics you'd like to see. Hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in next week's episode.